You never expect a revolution to begin with a cleaning lady's daughter walking barefoot into a studio, but sometimes the smallest spark sets the biggest fire. And on one ordinary Thursday in Atlanta, Georgia, that's exactly what happened. A 12-year-old girl named Emily Rivera, who'd spent years watching from the shadows, stepped into the spotlight and turned a cruel joke into something that would change lives, careers, and the very culture of a prestigious ballet academy.
This is not just a story about dance.
It's a story about class, courage, and the kind of talent that can't be taught, but must be felt. It's also a story about what happens when people stop laughing at the underdog and start listening. Emily Rivera was used to being invisible. Every weekday after school, she sat in the back corner of Riverside Classical Dance Academy, waiting quietly while her mother, Rosa Rivera, mopped the floors and cleaned the mirrors. Emily wasn't a student there, not officially. The girls who were students were the daughters of lawyers, doctors, executives. They wore brand-name leotards and danced with polished grace, barely noticing the shy girl in the corner. Until one day they did. "Hey, Emily," called out Harper Whitman, 14 years old, with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no in her life. "Want to show us what you've learned from watching us?" The girls around her snickered. One of them, Kylie, leaned over and added, "Yeah, come on. Bet you know every move by heart by now. Show us your interpretation." Their laughter echoed off the walls like sharp little knives. Emily looked down at her scuffed sneakers. Rosa kept her head low, scrubbing the studio floor harder, jaw clenched. "Come on," Harper pushed. "We'll even make it fun. If you can do 10 fouettes without falling, we'll be impressed." Emily's dark eyes flicked toward her mother. Rosa didn't say a word, but something passed between them. A memory, maybe, or a challenge. Emily stood. "Okay," she said quietly. "I'll try." The laughter died instantly. Harper blinked. "Wait, what?" "I said I'll try." The room tensed. It was supposed to be a joke. No one had expected the girl in sweatpants to actually accept. "Well then," Kylie smirked, pulling out her phone. "Let's record this for posterity." Harper crossed her arms. "If you don't make it to 10, you don't get to sit here anymore. No more watching. No more pretending you belong. Deal?" Emily didn't flinch. Deal. What those girls didn't know was that Emily had been preparing for this moment for years. Every morning before the sun rose, she practiced on the same studio floor while Rosa cleaned in silence. Rosa, once a folk dancer back in Puerto Rico, had taught her daughter not just technique, but expression, strength, spirit. They used borrowed ballet books, YouTube videos, and music from old cassette tapes. Rosa had even bought secondhand pointe shoes from a retired dancer after saving for months. "You don't need to look like them," Rosa would whisper. "Dance like you. Let the world adjust." Emily stepped to the center of the studio. She wasn't wearing ballet shoes. She wasn't wearing a tutu. Just a t-shirt, leggings, and bare feet. But she stood in fifth position like she was born to. Harper rolled her eyes. "Let's get this over with. I've got tennis in 30. The music started. The laughter faded. Emily spun. Once. Twice. 3 times. It wasn't perfect, but it was powerful. Her arms moved with a storytelling rhythm. Her expression shifted with the music. She wasn't just mimicking steps. She was feeling them. 10 turns became 15. 15 became 25. Kylie lowered her phone, not out of boredom, but out of awe. By 30 spins, Harper's smirk had melted into disbelief. By the time Emily reached 45 consecutive fouettes, you could hear a pin drop. Even Rosa, still holding her mop, stood frozen, hands trembling. The door opened behind them. "Is that my student?" asked Ms. Amanda Blackwell, the Academy's strict director. She dropped her clipboard and gasped. Emily stopped. Breath steady. Posture perfect. Harper's voice shook. How did you learn to do that?" "I watch," Emily replied. "And I practice. Every day." Ms. Blackwell stepped forward. "Who taught you?" "My mom," Emily said, smiling softly at Rosa. She taught me everything she knew, and we learned the rest together. Then, just as things seemed to settle, a twist no one expected. Another student, Lily Chong, ran in, sobbing. My little brother's missing. He was waiting in the car, and he's gone. Panic spread instantly. The girls rushed outside. Emily didn't hesitate. She kicked off her socks and sprinted barefoot into the nearby woods. She knew these woods, knew the places stray dogs liked to wander. And she remembered something else. Lily's little brother was terrified of dogs. Sure enough, they found him, trembling by a tree, cornered by a barking mutt. Emily did something wild. She danced. Slow, soft movements, like the ones Rosa taught her during thunderstorms. The dog tilted its head, confused but calm. The boy ran into Emily's arms. Rosa and Lily caught up just in time to see it. The barefoot girl in the clearing, holding a rescued child, framed by sunset and pine trees. The footage went viral within hours. By morning, Emily's name was everywhere. Barefoot ballerina saves boy and destroys bullies in one afternoon. Millions watched the video, first for the dance, then for the rescue. Comment sections filled with admiration. Celebrities retweeted. Dance schools around the world reposted. Ms. Blackwell didn't hesitate. Emily, she said, we're offering you a full scholarship. Formal classes. Private coaching. Everything. Free. Rosa tried to protest. I can't afford. You don't need to. We'll make a new program. In fact, we'll name it after her. The Emily Rivera Fellowship was born that week, aimed at discovering raw talent from underserved communities. A few months later, Emily stood on stage next to Harper at the National Junior Dance Finals. This time, they danced together. Harper had changed. The experience had humbled her. Emily taught me that dancing isn't about perfection, she said. It's about presence. Heart. Telling the truth with your body. Kylie used her social media to highlight dancers from overlooked backgrounds. We were wrong about her, she posted. Let's not make that mistake again. Rosa became the Academy's cultural arts instructor, teaching folk dance from Puerto Rico, inspiring kids who had never seen themselves reflected in dance before. And 1 year later, Emily stood backstage at the International Young Dancers Gala in New York City. She wasn't barefoot anymore. She wore custom point shoes, gifted by the American Ballet Theater. She looked out at the crowd and remembered the mop bucket, the corner seat, the laughter. Then she danced. And the world this time didn't laugh. It listened.